This is how to disassemble a Valkyrie GL1500 carburetor. We're going to go just step by step by what the manual says. It starts with remove the 4 screws on the air funnel. These are JIS screws. Have not tried a Phillips on them. Was suggested before I even started to pick up JIS screwdrivers, which fit better in the cross pattern and give you better torque, less chance of stripping them out. So if you're going to do this, I'd suggest picking up a set of JIS, which is a Japanese standard for screwdrivers. One, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be this piece here that's stuck between that and the O-ring. You can take the O-ring off. Going to be replacing that. Next step is to remove the starter enrichment valve. Here it is a 10 millimeter. There's a spring behind it. We're going to remove the air cutoff valve, which is here. The air cutoff valve has 3 O-rings. I'll show you where they are. Get this off. So they all stayed on the carburetor, but there is an O-ring down there, and then you also have 2 O-rings on this brass nipple inside here. This just comes right out. You get 2 O-rings that need to be replaced on that. And while we're at it, we're going to get the O-ring out of here. There we go. And we're going to remove 3 screws for the vacuum chamber. Underneath the vacuum chamber there is, this is just a chrome cover, there's an actual plastic piece under that, and then a spring under that. So there's an O-ring that seems to be holding this down. Let's pop that up, and there goes the spring. I said an O-ring, it's really the diaphragm. It kind of works as an O-ring. So now to pull this out, you're going to use one of the screws from the cover. Screw it in. And then you can just pull it right up. So you just want to be careful not to rip it if it's stuck anywhere. And we're going to continue to pull that out. So inside of here is the needle that we're going to pull out. There's a little O-ring that holds it in. There we go. So there comes the holder, and the needle will fall right out. And there's actually a washer that's still stuck inside of there. Get that out. There it is. And there's also a spring that's inside of the holder that you can take out as well. Next is going to be the float chamber. So the manual actually doesn't tell you to do this, but I know to do it now is to remove the drain screw. Because we're going to replace the O-ring on this drain screw as well. And if you don't take that drain screw out, when you put it in the ultrasonic cleaner, it makes it a little harder to get the grunge off the bottom of the bottom. And there's 3 screws that hold on the float chamber. And there's an O-ring on here that's going to have to be replaced. And as you pull this off, there's usually some sealant that you're going to have to scrape off as well underneath that. You can see all the dirt that's going to get cleaned off. And now we're going to take out the float. There's a little pin here that holds the float on. Push that pin out. The float, and the float needle is attached to the float, so just watch for that so you don't lose it. I'll be replacing mine. It just slides in right there. Now we're going to remove the jets. So you got the main jet on top here. jet here. And the main jet holder, which is a 7mm. And this is as far as the service manual has you break down the carburetor. So at this point, I am going to drop it into, I'm going to take this off too, drop it into the ultrasonic cleaner before putting it back together and replacing all the O-rings. Hope this helps anybody out that's looking to take one of these apart and clean it up and replace the O-rings.